Welcome to the body shop. Hi everybody, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part number 4 of the Monogram 1/48 scale B-25J Mitchell. So in the last episode, I got some stuff glued together, wings and all that kind of stuff. Vertical stabilizer / rudders, all things such like. So in this one, it's time to start gluing some more stuff together, namely the nose. And then I need to glue these cowl flap engine mount kind of things onto the engines. But I had to do a little bit of modification first to take care of some gaps. So let's talk about the cowls first. So if you remember in the last episode, I kind of showed how they had a gap right here on this intake. So what I've had to do is glue a piece of styrene spacer there to take up the gap so I can get that glued in place and then sanded smooth. Also, at the back of the nacelles, there was a bit of a step. This part back here was higher than this part here, which was necessary to make sure all the rest was flat and in place. So what I did is I used my straight edge, my little rule here, and I kind of held it in place to see how far up I needed to apply putty in order to be able to smooth that out and keep the contour consistent all along the edge there. So that's what I did, and for that I used Mr. White putty because I wasn't too concerned with how pretty it looked, you know, before I sanded it. So that's the deal with the wings. So in conjunction with that, I've been working on the nose. So I think I pointed this out in my last video as well, that this part up here fit. In order for this angled part to fit here smoothly, I was going to have to shim this. So I did the same thing with some sheet styrene, glued a piece on there, cut it out to allow for the machine guns to be inserted from behind. But now it fits really nicely. Now, my main concern will be to make sure this is really smooth right here and not have a seam left, because this will be the natural seam line of the nose. And I'm not gonna, it's ever so slightly wider this way than the nose. I mean, just very slightly, but I'm not going to worry about making sure it's perfectly smooth, because this is a removable piece up here on the real deal from what I can see. So it's not 100% in contour with the nose of the aircraft, if that makes sense. So anyway, I just need to glue that, get these parts here smoothed out, get these glued into place and smoothed out, and then I need to start thinking about adding some weight to the nose, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. So I'm going to work on this stuff here, and then we'll come back and see where I am. All right, quick update time here. So I got these blended in pretty well. I'm gonna have to put something right there. I just noticed that. So yeah, it all turned out pretty good there. So, and then here, same thing, nice and smooth. So I think the wings are ready for paint, or for primer at least, so I can check my work. So let's take a look here. Let's see, what have I done? Oh, I put the canvas cover for the machine guns in the back here. Put a little bit of clear sprue goo here and here, because where the parts came together. Instead of it being totally flat, they have like a little divot where the seam line is, if that makes any sense. It's like if it were like that here, there'd be like this edge right here was not totally sharp and it kind of curved in, so it left like a little V gap right there. So put some clear sprue glue on there, gonna let that dry up good. Put these two parts here. Use some clear sprue glue here after I sanded on it for a bit. So then all I'll have to do is, once this cures up really well, then I can sand this smooth, and then I'm going to have to rescribe the panel line there. Looks like I got a little bit more filling to do on those edges. To make sure those are nice and filled in. So there's that. And then the nose, I got the machine guns glued into place. It's very simple setup. It's just two halves of a platform and a kind of a bracket thing with the 4 barrels sticking out, which is nice because you don't have to worry about it lining up as much. However, the molding on the holes, I fixed it somewhat, but the guns are just a little slight bit off, like these here, but I think I can fix that. Then I filled in here and behind this tape here in the tunnel to access the nose from the rest of the aircraft. Filled it with some lead sinkers, split shot, commonly used for fishing to weight your fishing line down, and I just used Elmer's school glue. It's a type of PVA glue here in the United States if you don't have it overseas, and it worked really well, and I think this is going to be plenty of weight between this and what's in here to keep the nose down, keep it from being a tail sitter. So the next thing I need to do is I need to paint, I've got the engines and the cowls. I need to paint the inside of the cowls, and then I need to paint the engines and get those, you know, some washes on there and get that kind of finished up so I can glue those into place, so I can glue the cowls on, so I can start thinking about getting a little bit closer to paint. So what I'm going to work on right now is sanding this, making sure it's all ready to go, and then get that all smoothed out. Then I will glue the nose section in place, and I will glue the vertical stabilizer / rudders in place once I've checked all the seams, and I should be ready to start doing some masking, and then I'll be ready to move on to primer, I think, so I can start checking seam lines and make sure everything looks good. So I'll come back. All right, so I got everything masked off, and I got some primer sprayed onto all of the parts that I did work. So I'm going to let that cure up really well because it is a lacquer based primer, and I want to make sure that I don't get any weird shrinkage or anything going on with the seams or any of the fillers that I used. So I'm going to end this video here. I know it's kind of a short one, but I think it gets the point across about what I was doing. So we'll end part 4 of the Monogram 1/48 scale B-25J. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button. Think about subscribing. If you have any hints, tips, concerns, experience with this kit, anything else, put them in the comments section down below. So until next time for part 5, thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and I will see you all later.